On this edition of Southern Newsweek, a young person returns a weak positive test result for COVID-19 on Stewart Island. The University of Otago's study into the effects of Mycoplasma bovis shows MPI made many errors. And one of this year's top performing Highlanders has received a call-up to the All Blacks. Kia ora, I'm Melissa Barton. A child on Stewart Island has returned a weak positive COVID-19 test result. Officials are now investigating whether it's a historic case or a false positive test result.
News of a child testing positive for COVID-19 on Rakiura, Stewart Island was confirmed by the Director General of Health this afternoon.
Yes, we were notified yesterday of rather than calling it a case, a very weak positive result actually in a child, which was a bit puzzling, and this came as a result of pre-departure testing. Speaking
at this afternoon's press conference, Dr Ashley Bloomfield says Southern-based health authorities are on their way to Rakiura.
The PHO and the DHB are mobilising some teams to go to Rakiura today to test other children in the daycare centre where this child attended, and also others in the community who may want testing.
He says the early childhood centre the child attended is closed for the rest of the week, and they're waiting for further test results from the child's parents.
All the other family members tested negative, and repeat testing of both the child and other family members was negative as well. We're awaiting some serology results on the parents just to see whether we can see whether there might be historical infection there.
Dr Bloomfield says it's more than likely a false positive test result, but they're taking all the necessary precautions just in case. In Southland, the South Today.
A University of Otago study on the impact of the Mycoplasma bovis outbreak on southern families has slammed the Ministry for Primary Industries. The MPI approach to the devastating outbreak has been labelled as intrusive, impractical and inhumane by researchers.
The 2018 Mycoplasma bovis outbreak may have caused some farmers to turn their backs on dairying. 3 years on from the events which saw more than 100,000 cattle slaughtered, the sun is finally shining for North Otago dairy farmers Rob and Sylvia Borst.
Yeah, we're back on track, fully stocked. Cows are going really well. We've got a really good team in place, and things are looking really good.
The Borst's first exposure to the disease was in April 2018, when they had more than 800 in-calf heifers grazing on a central Otago property, which was placed under a notice of direction. Rob Borst says the phone call from MPI was devastating.
When I first had the phone call from MPI, it was really a shock. Certainly farming we'd gone through a couple of challenges beforehand, and to have that phone call was certainly took my breath away. It was pretty hard to take.
He says he'll never forget the scene which greeted him when he turned up at his North Otago dairy shed 15 minutes too late. A Ministry for Primary Industries eradication team had turned up and began slaughtering cattle where they stood.
Initially, they were certainly lacking some real basic sort of knowledge about farming and their communication. They were bloody useless, to be fair.
He says so many cattle were being shot and their throats cut, the drainage system blocked up with coagulated blood. However, he's thankful he had good people around him to get through it.
Certainly, it was having the support of obviously my wife Sylvia and Kevin, our local vet, was certainly instrumental in supporting us through this and being at the meetings. Yeah, there was a lot of tough days, but it's just a matter of working through it, and there's certainly different stages we went through as part of it.
The study into how the Ministry for Primary Industries handled the highly infectious Mycoplasma bovis disease found MPI severely lacking. Rob Borst says while the government organisation was heavy-handed and ignorant at the beginning, he says after a while they developed an understanding of the effects on farmers and the wider industry. In North Otago, the South Today.
Rugby player Ethan de Groot has risen to yet another level. The Highlanders and Southland player has been named in the All Blacks squad to face Tonga and Fiji next month.
22-year-old powerhouse Ethan de Groot, who made only 2 appearances off the bench for the Highlanders last season, has now been selected for New Zealand's national rugby team, the All Blacks. De Groot says he didn't really know he was in the running to join the prestigious team.
I was just at home with my partner, just watching it on the phone. Yeah.
And the phone went off after that?
Yeah, just kept vibrating for like 2 hours.
He says he's been mentored well during his time with the Highlanders.
Definitely our coaching staff, and then just like the older guys in our team, like Honick, Delby, and our leaders in our group. Yeah, they've been huge for my growth.
De Groot says he's open to do whatever is required of him by the All Black team.
Yeah, I'm not too sure what's going to happen. Obviously there's a few injuries in there, and I'm just keen to go up there and learn as much as I can and learn from the best.
De Groot was born in Australia but grew up in Gore, and he hopes he's an example of what the local school system in Gore can produce.
I'd like to think I have inspired parents and kids to like stay in Southland and do their schooling in Southland. There is a pathway. It is tough, and you're not in the limelight but yeah, it can be done. A lot of kids or parents send their kids away out of the province to do their schooling. And
De Groot could well be playing for the All Blacks as soon as the 3rd of July against Tonga. In Dunedin, the South Today.
Celebrating New Year on Wanaka's lakefront is becoming as popular in winter as it is in summer. Both the Māori New Year and winter solstice were celebrated in 2 separate events on the lakeshore.
Hundreds gathered for the annual Kahu Youth Matariki celebrations at Wanaka's Dinosaur Park on Saturday afternoon. Kahu Youth manager Richard Elvey says the event is about bringing the community together in an affordable way.
Well, obviously it's celebrating Matariki, but also it's about this community coming together, and this is a for the community, by the community event. We have no commercial anything here. Everything's koha or free.
It's really good. The kids love it. They love it.
Elvey has been the event organiser since it started 11 years ago and says it's growing each year.
There's a multitude of workshops. We've got a community mural. We've got Why Wanaka, the water health guys have been running a treasure hunt. We've had the Death Cafe celebrating loved ones that have passed on. We've got face painting and a million things.
The event concluded after sunset with a bonfire and fireworks, and then Sunday morning saw about 200 people take part in a charity fundraiser celebrating the winter solstice with a chilli dip in Lake Wanaka. This event is now in its 21st year, with hot sausages and a spa pool on offer for those who took part.
It was fantastic, you should have been there. It was so warm.
The water temperature was just over 10 degrees, a good 3 degrees above air temperature, which was a chilly 7 Celsius. And it wasn't just swimmers, with water skiers and wakeboarders also getting wet, including organisers Graham Vallance and Gary Tweedle showing off as a water skiing duo. This year's chosen charity to benefit from the donations is the Wanaka Food Bank.
Oh, it's beautiful. Pretty good to go with your mate organising it.
In Wanaka, the South Today.
Still to come on Southern Newsweek, the truly brave or foolhardy take on a Southern Midwinter Swim Challenge, and some very expensive bulls are sold at a North Canterbury auction. So see you after the break. Welcome back. A Dunedin man who's opened a new Turkish kebab shop on Dunedin's George Street says he's been surprised at how easy it is to run his own business. Mustafa Bostas is using accountants and online programs to look after things such as the payroll, allows him to focus on the daily business of serving his customers.
Mustafa Bostas is just 1 week into operating his own business for the first time, a kebab cafe on Dunedin's George Street. Prior to setting up this eatery, Boztas had worked in a number of Turkish restaurants and takeaway shops, but he'd never managed his own business before.
It's so easy to operate a business because you just leave it to your accountant and online like payroll, like tanker payroll. What they do is they do all the work for us and we just do the hard work in the store. So as the years go, it gets easier and easier to operate a business because it's all done electronically.
He's named his restaurant Huzur, which means comfort and peace in Turkish.
There's a meaning behind that name because of all the hard work and hard times that we've been through, and now we're in peace, so that's why I thought we'll just name it Huzur.
Boztas says he was taught to make kebabs by his father, Razaman Boztas, who immigrated to New Zealand over 20 years ago and operated several popular kebab cafes around Dunedin.
My father was chef for 20 years, so he taught us like the recipes and ingredients and how to make the best kebab in Dunedin.
Boztas says he's thinking he might expand his business with food trucks, selling kebabs at events around the south. In Dunedin, the South Today.
Cold, drizzly conditions did not discourage about 24 brave swimmers from taking to the ocean in the Catlins on Sunday. Organisers say the Midwinter plunge has been held at Kaka Point for at least 50 years.
Chilly, drizzly conditions meant those taking part in this year's Midwinter plunge at Kaka Point was only about 20 hardy souls, down from about 50 in other years. But those who took part enjoyed the challenge.
You should go in yourself, you just don't know what it's like.
It's called a brain freeze.
All these overdressed people should be out there swimming.
Refreshing. Very awake now.
Kaka Point Surf Lifesaving Club President Mark Van Asburn says the club has been running the event since at least the 1960s and offers facilities to warm up after.
Got a hot shower here, some hot drinks and a hot food with a barbecue as well, so yeah, we'll get you warm again.
The sea was about 13 degrees Celsius, but Van Asburn says running the event prevented him from enjoying a dip himself.
Look, somebody's got to look after the barbecue, you know, so you just can't do everything, I'm afraid.
He says the event is a way to begin the journey back to summer as a club and a community. At Kaka Point, the South Today.
A North Canterbury stud breeder is looking to take the next direction. The 12th Hemmingford Charolais on-farm bull sale has been held near Covilton with young bulls sired by Hemmingford Next Direction, featuring strongly.
It's definitely not a load of bull. Top prices have been paid at the 12th annual Hemmingford Charolais on-farm bull sale for a host of stud bulls.
Yeah, it was a great sale. Yeah, really pleased. So we had a good top price of $28,000 for one stud bull and good solid commercial support right through. So, you know, very happy.
The day's top price of $28,000 went to a young bull sired by Australian bull ANC Lynx.
$28,000 a yard. Oh, I got $28,000.
But prices for the locally sired Charolais were very strong, with many beasts fetching around $10,000 each.
He's a bull that we've sold semen over to Canada and Australia. Palgrove one, possibly one of the biggest studs in the world. So they've got that, and the Next Direction son sold really well today, which was really good.
Breeders say they've focused on the temperament and muscle development in the bulls. And Holland is excited to be able to put up a line of bulls like this and have such great local support from around the country.
No, really pleased that it's taken a long time for breeding cattle. It's a long process, and we've focused on the temperament and the muscling and things with their bulls, and it's exciting to be able to present a line of bulls like this and have such great local support and support from all around the country. So.
In all, 47 bulls were put up for sale, with 41 sold for an average price of $7,488. The Holland family also runs a sheep stud, specialising in Texel and Texel Cross rams. Sam Holland says some of their stud rams have been sold to overseas buyers.
And we've just sent two rams over to Japan on a live export, and they just left last week. So that's been exciting. The first sheep will be re-exported, so that was that was cool.
Sam and his wife Vicky are responsible for the day-to-day running of the operation, which comprises 265 stud Charolais cows and 2,500 stud ewes, with nearly 1,000 ewe hoggets. The couple has plans to increase to 300 Charolais cows to provide some scale for culling and to build up the breed. In Amberley, the South Today.
An idea which started almost 20 years ago has become a reality as Liberton Christian School in Dunedin opens a new junior classroom block. The brand new space opened recently and the school says it means the school can continue to grow.
This brand new block at Dunedin's Liberton Christian School in Pine Hill is set to open tomorrow, marking the end of an 18-year mission.
So having this extra space does mean that there's the potential for us to grow a little bit more if the Ministry of Education is able to give us a role increase at some stage.
18 years ago, Dunedin couple Ross and Catherine Pettigrew bought number 3 Hillary Street, with the idea it could be used in the future as a classroom for the children's school. Sydney Harlow lived in the flat next door and shared the Pettigrew's vision.
He was just a very dear friend of the school and he just loved seeing the children and just having that interaction in his everyday. And he said to us at that time that it was his hope that one day his property would also be owned by the school and that this very thing could happen.
When Mr Harlow died in 2009, at his request, the Pettigrews bought his flat. The Pettigrew family held on to the properties until the Dunedin Christian Schools Association had the funds to buy both flats in 2018. This week, the former Hillary Street flats are being officially opened as 2 redeveloped classrooms.
We can see that it's a real blessing to the whole school, not just our junior children.
Liberton Principal Fiona Sizemore says the new classrooms were a long time coming and about 3 years in the making, from funding to planning and building. The additional classrooms will help the school manage an increasing role. In Dunedin, the South Today.
Still to come on Southern Newsweek, a newly named young Olympic swimmer is celebrated at her high school and a sizable reward is offered for the safe return of a missing cat. So see you after the break. Thanks for staying with us. Dunedin has a brand new competitor taking to the pool at this year's Olympic Games. 17-year-old Erica Fairweather has been named on the swimming team for next month's Tokyo Olympics.
Yesterday was not your average day at school for Erica Fairweather.
This definitely wasn't a one-person job. I had my parents, my coaches, Swimming New Zealand, Cabinet College of course.
In fact, it was almost as rare as school days come.
Oh yes, I had my little moment before everyone came. I was sitting on the floor and I was like, holy crap, I'm going to the Olympics. This is insane. And then I composed myself a little bit more, so it was good.
The Year 13 Kavanagh College pupil was cheered and clapped onto the school hall stage after being announced as a member of New Zealand's team for next month's Tokyo Olympics. Fairweather is set to compete in swimming's 200 metres, 400 metres and 4x200 metre freestyle races, where she'll be up against the best in the world, and she knows it's right up where she belongs.
I'll be more comfortable. They're still the big dogs, they're still the best in the world, and you get to go race them. But you've earned your spot there, I deserve to be there and that's so exciting to me.
Former Otago Olympian and dual international Susie Bates made the announcement at a school assembly. It was a special moment for Fairweather, who showed plenty of emotion standing on stage as a haka was performed for her. One of her closest friends has seen Fairweather's swimming career take off over the years and is blown away with her friend's Olympic call-up.
I get so emotional about it because I know how much effort she puts into everything that she does, and I couldn't think of a more well-deserving person of all of this. She, no matter what she's going through or how hard she's working, she always puts everyone else first.
Her parents Emma Young and Mark Fairweather were front and centre at the assembly and are understandably incredibly proud.
Yeah, amazing, crazy. Yeah, very proud.
So proud for her, and stoked for her. She's she's wanted this for years, and it's finally come to fruition is amazing.
While still in Dunedin before she heads away, Erica Fairweather is set to train in the 50-metre pool at the Moana Pool Complex. In Dunedin, the South Today.
The winners of this year's ID International Emerging Designer Awards have been announced to a sellout crowd in Dunedin. Closed borders due to COVID-19 meant only 11 of the 41 finalists could showcase their collections on the runway, with the judges and audience left to review the remainder on video.
Trying out a new venue, this year's ID International Emerging Designer Awards were shown to a sellout crowd at the atrium of Dunedin's Otago Museum. This year's head judge was Tania Carlson, who says she's impressed by the enthusiasm shown by the young designers.
Best part about emerging designers is seeing all the brilliant young talent, and it's just so inspiring, and they're optimistic and they're hopeful for the future.
Carlson says closed borders made it a challenge to judge this year's entries simply by watching them on video, but the global jury made sure the designs which stood out were among the finalists.
When it comes to picking a winner, we're just always looking for, and I know it sounds corny, the X factor. It really is, you know it jumps out at you. So what we have is all our judges submitting their comments and a score, and so the process is actually quite straightforward.
First place went to Sarah Kickmeyer, studying in France, with her collection Real Utopia. The event also included a Godmothers section, where older, established designers were hailed by the crowd and the younger designers for their many years of contribution to the show.
In the second half, when the Godmothers had to go and dress their garments, a lot of them gave their seats to the emerging designers so they could come out and watch Godmother half. So that was just brilliant, I love that.
Dr. Margot Barton says she's very grateful for the dozens of volunteers who contributed hundreds of hours behind the scenes to make the show a reality.
Everybody really got banded together because we had to, otherwise it wouldn't have happened. And the board, the voluntary board, I'm a member of that, all of us just had to work so hard, it was just ridiculous.
A video of the 41 finalists' designs is set to play at the Otago Museum over next week. In Dunedin, the South Today.
Rewards for missing pets are reaching into 4 figures, but owners say no price is too high to get their fur babies back. A Dunedin woman is offering a $1,000 reward for the return of their beloved family pet.
Putting up posters in the hope of finding a much-loved moggy.
So Molly is our much-beloved 1-year-old Berman sort of cross-mix cat, and she went missing 6 weeks ago when we were in the process of moving house. So unfortunately she got spooked by the movers and ran off, and we haven't seen her since.
Dunedin woman Catherine Wright is going all out to find her crossbreed cat, Molly. They're offering a $1,000 reward for the cat's return as a way of illustrating how much their cat means to them.
This is a way to show people really quickly just how special she is to us, how much she's a part of our family, and hopefully just to stand out from the noise a little bit. You know, there's hundreds of pets that go missing every week, and this is a way that we can, I guess, rise to the top of that noise a little bit and hopefully just stick in people's minds a little bit so that when somebody does see her, they'll remember that she's special, she's loved, she's missed, and they'll get in touch with us.
Catherine Wright has posted widely on social media, put flyers around her neighbourhood and pasted posters up around the city. She says the main reason for the large reward is to catch people's attention. In Dunedin, the South Today.
And that wraps up this edition of Southern Newsweek. For the latest news from the Southern region, head online to odt.co.nz and follow Channel 39 on Facebook and YouTube. Ka kite anō.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.